Good morning, everyone. Good morning. 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 Morning. Good morning. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, Mr. Godwin. Welcome. Do you hear me? Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining. Bear with me. I am just trying to. Great. Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Let me mute myself. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me and can you see me? Welcome, 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 Deborah. Welcome, Mr. Godwin. Can you hear me, Mr. Godwin? If you can hear me, let me know. It doesn't look like your mute button is on, but obviously I can't hear you. Deborah, if you can hear me, please also let me know. I can't hear you either, though I can see you. Fabulous, excellent, excellent. We're still waiting for Dr. Uchenna, who is going to join us later. We're 7 minutes in. So, can you hear me? If you can hear me, I can't hear you. So if you could say something, that would be great. Excellent.
Oh,
Uh,
I totally forgot that my mic wasn't on. Good morning,
oh,
Mrs.
good
Timothy
morning.
Destiny.
Good morning. Good morning. Good
I can hear
morning.
you perfectly.
Fabulous. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Mr. Godwin, if you can hear me, if you can hear me, Mr. Godwin, please, yeah, let's hear your voice. And also, your camera is not on, just to let you know. Um, Anyway, we'll get started while we're waiting for Dr. Uche now. Am I the one feeding back? I'm having some feedback on
Yeah,
my
I'm not
side.
sure because I can exactly. I can hear some feedback.
Okay. I'm not sure why we're having the feedback. So we're gonna be talking about so welcome to our audience, wherever you are on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Welcome to this session. It is an honor, it's a privilege to have you on this session as we talk about the sustainability development goal number 4. Sustainability development goal number 4, and it's about education, and not just education. We're talking about quality education. Quality education. And today I've got with me seasoned men and women who's going to be talking to us about quality education, or we're going to be talking about it. Oh, welcome, Mr. Godwin. We can see you. Can you hear us? Um,
Thank you.
is
Yes,
the
I can hear you
question.
very well.
Oh, fantastic.
Please, can you hear
Excellent.
me?
Excellent. Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you. Well, I can hear you, and I'm
Okay.
hoping that our audience can hear you as well. So thank you so much for logging in and for coming on the session. It's For me, it's promised to be an exciting session. I like talking about education. I just love, you know, anything that develops people and develop their skills and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to an exciting session. We're going to be talking about quality education. We're still waiting for Dr. Uchenna to join us on this. But before we kick off, I thought it would be good and it's appropriate to introduce our speakers today that we're going to be having the discussion together. So I'm going to do a bit of I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do justice. So I'll let you introduce yourself as well. But I would like to introduce Deborah Adebanjo first. Deborah Adebanjo. I was really, when I was looking at people to bring on the program, I was like, oh, I really love what she's doing. Maybe because I'm in the healthcare industry, so I was a bit biased. That would be the word to use. Um, but it was really she's been on a journey of redefining education by helping undergraduates maximize their learning experience while in school and leveraging education as a tool for personal and societal transformation. Um, she graduated as a microbiologist with first class honor, and obviously this experience ignited deep passion in what she's doing now and how she's helping others. She's been in different roles in terms of, and also she's a content and storyteller. So um, I'm sure if you're in the audience, please connect with her on LinkedIn. She also have a mentorship a capacity building, and she's the founder of Practical Education Hub, which provide mentorship program that helps students think beyond grades, and it sets smart and impactful goals and work on projects that prepare them for real world. And I think that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today, because it's good to have the grades and everything, but can you actually function in the real world is the
Hmm.
questions. So that is really important. Um, and she's contributed to advancing education in terms of putting out science communicate being a science communicator and a content writer. She's a graduate teaching assistant at Benin State University, She's an academic tutor and an officer at Redeem University, and where she mentors students. I believe she's going to be, incredible in discussing about education as we go through that. And I will allow her to introduce herself. The second person we have on today is Mr. Godwin. I will need you to help me pronounce your first name. I am so sorry. I've been trying. I put it on Google. I was trying to make sure I pronounce it very well. So please bear with me. It's not intentional. So I'm going to be introducing him in a minute, and I'll tell you about him. Bear with me. Bear with me, I'll tell you all about him. So, Mr. Godwin is an educator and a copywriter and a critical thinking strategist. Is a beacon of inspiration in the field of education, boasting over 7 years of passionate commitment to shaping young minds and fostering a deep noted love for learning. He has, I mean, beyond classroom, beyond classroom, he has equipped himself with different skills. And I would, like I said, I will get him to introduce himself because I'm not very good at introduction. And he wears many hats. He's the lecturer at the moment in the university. Sorry, I'm just trying to in the federal capital of Abuja right now, which is University of Abuja, and I will get him to introduce himself as well. So I'm really grateful for you coming on the program today. I know I cannot do justice because I know, which is why I will get you to introduce yourself as we go in the program today, as we talk about quality education, which I'm very sure is something you both are passionate about, as well as Dr. Uchenna. So let me start by calling Deborah Adebanjo because you logged in first. I thought it would just, so I will just call you if you're available. Can you introduce yourself to our audience and just tell them, obviously, all the things that I've missed out? Please go ahead.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. Please, can we confirm if you can hear me? I don't know if I'm audible enough.
Yes, we can hear you.
Am I
Now
audible
that,
enough? Okay,
yes, now that clear.
okay. So, thank you, Mrs. Odetune. I feel like you have done enough justice to the introduction already. There's no need to be scared about introducing people because you've really done a great job. Well done, ma. And I must say, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here today to speak about something that I am passionate about. And let me just go right ahead to introduce myself. I feel like there's no more introduction I want to do than what you've done already. So, I graduated as a microbiologist from Redeemers University, one of the best universities in the world, according to data and according to the impact they are making. And I currently work with the Ministry of Health as a health management information system officer. So I handle health data to ensure that stakeholders are able to make informed decisions with them. So currently, I also like I'm the founder of Practical Education of According together with other great minds, where we try to guide undergraduates to make the most of their education and gain skills that really help them to make an impact in the real world. So that's basically what I do. And I love writing stories about people making impact and using that to inspire others to do same. Like just making impact easy to see and replicable like young people. That's something I'm really passionate about. And I look forward to an amazing session. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for adding to my little missing points. I'm really grateful for the time. I don't take it for granted when, when I reach out to you and I wasn't quite sure what I'm going to get, but I was just like, okay, the worst I can get is no. And that's always been my policy. And I'm really grateful for you joining the conversation today. And next will be Mr. Godwin. Again, please introduce yourself and please tell me how to pronounce your name because I really want to. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Today for this vital opportunity. It's very, very important. My name is Godwin, and my surname is Asanganye. So that's the pronunciation of the surname Asanganye. So it's an indigenous name, so I just always prefer it come first for my first name. Okay, you've done the amazingly, like just read my profile. Must give you my thank that. And in addition to that, without nothing missing, when you talk of being a passionate educator, I have been doing this for years. Like if consistency was what if consistency was destination, I would have said I've gotten to the destination because I've been consistent in giving out quality. I was opportune to be an advocate, an SG4 advocate. It's an opportunity to have that experience for the past 2 years. I've been an SDG advocate, SDG4 advocate. So it's something that I've worked in. It has connived very well with me, and it's all work for good. And I've just it to the profile, and I must say that yeah, just getting that to the system. Let's see how the conversation is going to go. Thank you for the opportunity, man. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you so, so much. Thank you. And, even though I've sent you a few questions and I don't think I'm going to sway away from there, unless you send something really juicy and I want to plug more into what you're saying. So we're not going to deviate really from there. I'm really passionate though to find out how did your education journey and mentor shape your path into what you do now? Because we're talking about quality education, and I always thought, when people are, I don't know about other people, but for me, when I am passionate about education because I felt people pour into me and I felt I need to just pour into other people. I feel like I hold people. And so I'm always passionate to find out when I find people who are passionate about education. I'm always want to know, okay, why are you into this? So I'll go to you first, Mr. Godwin. Why, how did your education journey or a mentor shape your path into what you do now? Can you hear me, Mr. Godwin?
You are. It's a series of a journey and a personal story. I grew up in a community that when people talk about education, teachers, a small community that people don't prioritize teaching. So where everybody making money. I once, my early, I graduated from my secondary school. I started making money. At some point, I felt I've gotten it. That early age of finishing education, secondary school education, and you see your peers making out, dressing, looking good, and okay, this is what you have to do. And at some point, and I was in it, and I noticed that this is not what I want. I was not
Mm,
comfortable. Through the money was I was not comfortable. I was not exploring like I expected to do, though I didn't identify myself as at that time. So an opportunity came by a friend of mine. We discussed something. So that friend of mine was currently teaching. My friend was currently teaching, and then I was into like we tack it in our language. hustling. So, and I had to know how I can start up. So, while we were talking, I noticed that that energy was moving. I said, okay, I was not trying to buy into a career at some point. I said, okay, by next session, by September, I'm just going to try teaching because I started teaching because I wanted to write my jam. So, okay, I can't be doing this work I'm doing, I'm writing jam. I'm not going to make it. I said, okay, that was when I find myself in a classroom as an SSC holder. So it was just in a small one, and I started with 6,500 naira as an SSC holder in a class. I did that because I wanted to pass my jam. So I needed something that can be able to work with me, resonate with what I want. I started my jam. I wrote my jam to go into electrical engineering, so at some point it didn't go well. So when I rewrite my jam, I noticed that I find myself it was not working. So it was in the midst of me trying to doubt myself in passing jam that I noticed that this passion for teaching is what I really want. How did it start? I noticed it was giving me opportunities. I found myself, even as an SSC holder, I found myself I was being I was getting access to vital information that
Yeah.
others were not having. So I began to see myself at the top. So in the span of just a year, I was like, okay, something is really changing. When I go out, people be calling me teacher. God, if you just see my title that I just added teacher, because it's something I've been resonating. Even later, I got people like teacher Godwin, teacher Godwin, teacher Godwin. It all started that way. And I noticed that the tag teacher comes with value, though people don't see it as value. People ridicule teachers, they belittle teacher because it's a list of the profession. But anybody that finds herself or herself in a teaching profession always is a person of high standard. So each time I go out in a question, I saw people, they'll be like, good morning, Teacher Godwin. I prefer people calling me Teacher God. How? It always resonate, like it always gives this subconsciousness that I have a value to offer. So after seeing in the long run, I noticed that this is what I need to do as a teacher. So for the past 7 years, I say that I must be able to do this, and this is what I want to do. I moved into started my NCE, and that was what we were landing myself in the rest of Abuja studying education. And not just studying education, I want to see how I can create the best out of education. Even before the introduction of I was be able to, I used amazing tools to see how I can do the best out of myself, creating positive influence. Because you've just made mention in this matter, you are talking about bringing quality. It's one thing to train children, because I focused on training primary education because it is the first origin. There is one
Yeah.
thing to train children, it's another thing for you to see them becoming the best, fitting in to the society. This was that this idea was what drives my first article that was published in India 2022. I talk about juvenile delinquency. So juvenile, either is always on my cover photo here. I think it's a cover photo on my LinkedIn. That juvenile delinquency was as a result of the environment I find myself. Kids grew up drinking alcohol, kids grew up smuggling, kids grew up doing a lot of things. And these are kids that the primary setting of which I can be able to arrest and deal with that situation. This was how the drive started. And I say, okay, what do I have to do differently? What do I have to? I don't just want to be the usual teacher that go out and a salary. It's not fulfilling. The first task I did was during the lockdown. I organized a training for them. I'm just trying to pull up my story. In 2020, I pulled up a training for them that hosted more than 150 children to
Wow.
prepare them during the lockdown. My first ever success story in 2020. After that, I started to give them a photography skill, which I have.
Wow.
It's because them skill is what will make them to thrive. Today, I can boldly say that one of the learners out of the 60 that was part of the photography session, one doing photography, and that's a skill. I can hit my chest that this learner under my tutelage has a skill that is for his school fees. So it's something I saw this journey rewarding, and I'm not just stopping anytime soon. Even though I might have some, because I made a post like that. Sometimes some breakup in career, I'm not seeing this stopping anytime soon. Even if it might stop, I must be able to channel my energy to see that the society we find ourselves bring out education, and not just education that pays for itself, where a
Wow.
child that finished school is able to acquire that can pay his fee. That's currently what I'm doing. And I can boast enough that I pay my school fee, no sponsor. So it's something that I built. It's as a result of the skill I have. So if I can do this, I can to also engineer the young ones to come up with this. So I was so happy to see that that is resonating with what I have been doing over time. And trust me, it's going to be a rewarding, and to all our listeners that are going to get some practical strategies to help, most especially the children. My strength always focusing on how the children grow up with a skill. Imagine a child of 7 years old having a digital skill, which in this digital economy that we are, because it's a digital economy, a young child of 7 years having a digital skill that can be able to pay off. So it's a future, and already we are in the future. I trust this future is going to pay off. Thank you for the opportunity, and I still know we are going to do more in it. Thank you, ma'am. I think I need to stop there
Thank
before I
you
turn
so
out.
much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think Deborah Banjo is dropped off. I'm not sure how. So please do join us as we discuss. And I really like what you were talking about not just being a teacher. We need to do a bit more than that, because people come out with skill. Then what? What's next? What are they meant to do next? And because it's not just about the skill. And what I've noticed, as at least as a manager and as a recruiter, is people come out with skill, but they don't have experience. They don't have skill. They come out with qualification, I would say, but they don't have skill because they're not the same. You can have the paper, but you might not have the skill. I know a lot of people do placement now to help students to get that going, but there is more that needs to be done to prepare people as they're coming out. And I think it's really key that we are able to prepare the next generation as they come out. While I'm waiting for Deborah Debanjo to join us, we can continue the conversation. So, how can university balance rigorous academic standard with the need to equip graduates with practical job ready skill? Now that you are in the university, how do you think, do you think the university, let's start from there. Do you think the university are actually balancing um, academic standards with equipping graduates with practical ready skill? Or do we think, they're doing, obviously they're giving them the standard, but the practical skills are not there? What do you think? You are on mute.
As a
Okay,
student,
now you're back. Yeah,
I think
fine.
the
I can
experience
hear
I
you.
have, yes, okay. I think the experience I have has been able to put me in a position. I've come to discover that education should be something that is skill based. Education should be something that is skill based, even while we are trying to marry up every other learning activities that is included. Now,
Mhm.
permit me to start from the origin, which is the primary education to secondary education before the tertiary education.
Yeah.
And okay, let me just generalize it. If an educational system has come up with a structure of building a skill base into the curriculum, how? So I was thinking on something the other day. I think for some past few months, I have been working on a particular project that I needed to be able to a week within this week. That is next. I come to discover that the educational system by itself is a root learning. Now, the root learning is currently now it is becoming a part that root learning is trying to conflict the skill-based learning. Some schools now have included skill-based into that curriculum. Now, if the tertiary institution can pay attention to skill-based learning, when we know that okay, as a student in Nigerian university, coming to learn a particular course. While learning this particular course, how are you seeing yourself in the next 4 years after graduation? How are you seeing yourself in the next 6 years, 4 years after graduation, and 2 years in the labor market? So it's a core that if the university education is able to include skill-based learning, which is entrepreneurship, whatever most is entrepreneurship, there's skill-based learning, first year of education. Now, no, currently we have different kinds of skill. We have the soft skill, hard skill. No, most especially is hard. A lot of people do have this I have soft skill. And outside this soft skill is needed to for effective job delivery. Soft skill for effective job delivery when you have a job. Then, if you don't have a job, this is when hard skill is. Those skills that can be able to keep you going, be able to take up some little while you have not just gotten that your dream job you are looking for. So for a tertiary institution to be able to come up with a sustainable educational settings, there should be an inclusion in the skill-based learning,
Mm.
because there are a lot of skill-based learning. In the skill-based digital skill, there are a lot of skills, most in this digital economy, a lot of digital skill-based learning are everywhere. So if the tertiary institution pay attention to a sustainable living society, there should be an inclusivity in the skill-based learning. So I think from my own point,
Amazing.
because currently myself in an institution, like sometimes if I go to a lecture, let's imagine I have a 5 days of a week, I'm going for a class. So I am seeing myself that out of these 5 days, I should have 2 days learning what I paid for, which normal rote learning thought this course. A do one days, Jesse days, field 1, 1, 2, 3 courses should take 2 days out of the then 5 weeks on getting the skill based lesson. Did you find yourself if 3 days or 2 days is devoted in giving quality, because it's one thing to give quality, it's another thing to give quantity. So if quality skill based learning is being included in the university, a whole lot of graduates will have a job of their own, which is able to make them employers to employ other people. And it's a very big for everybody to explore. So I'm sure there should be an inclusion in the skill-based learning in the curriculum, in the Nigerian university curriculum for sustainable education.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Deborah Adibanja, I'm so sorry. You logged off. So I was trying to just ask. I don't know if you're aware, you came off the screen. So I was trying to see when you're back. So thank you for coming back. So I
Thank
would
you
like,
so
I
much.
would, oh, thank you. Thank you. I would like to ask, we were talking about the question I've asked Mr. Godwin to answer is about how can we, prepare people for real world beyond the fact that they've got grades. But what I want to explore with you is, in especially in the area of healthcare, that how can educators and researcher collaborate to improve community understanding and acceptance? Because the reality is that, health is important, and we all know that people are not taking their health very seriously. um,
Mm-hmm.
and you are in the health industry, as a scientist. How do we actually get can educators and researchers collaborate to improve that community understanding and get them to accept, some of the things we're trying to teach? Because there's a lot of information going out, but I don't feel like people are actually taking on the information because you're not seeing that transformation in the health industry as much. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I apologize for logging out. The network actually locked me out. I'm glad to be back.
So sorry.
So, thank you so much for that question. I believe that Mr. Godwin has done justice to like the initial question you asked, and just like we said, education is. I think many times when we see education as a standalone, but we need to understand that education and impact itself, like they are together, they are intertwined. So when education is not leading to change, it's not
Mm,
inspiring people, it's not equipping people to make a change, then it's not really educating. So to the question that you asked about, oh, we are not really seeing changes in the health sector here, and how do researchers and educators collaborate to actually birth this change that we seek. So I would like to give a background to this. So I attended a is it let me say a seminar one time where this the individual was a scientist, and he was talking to us about his research and the business aspect of it, how he wants to go just beyond making this science, but he wants to make it something that the general public would enjoy. Because at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, is science just for the scientists or for the general public? Science
mm,
is meant to be enjoyed by everyone.
yeah,
So, and we understand that many times researchers want to talk about their science, but they do not know how to go about it. And that is where the major gap is. They want to tell people about their science. You should see when researchers or scientists make a recent discovery, they want to shout on the rooftop about that discovery, but they do not know exactly how to go about it. And that is this is where educators come in. Educators are those people that would, we can call them science communicators, it could even be teachers that recognize that okay, there is a gap between science and the real world, and then start to inculcate this the bridge that fixes this gap into the curriculum. So just as Mr. Godwin highlighted, we need to start to, I think one point I would like to raise there is that we need to start to train our students on the rudiments of science communication. Because at the end of the day, that student who is in class today is the future scientist.
yes,
So if they do not see that science communication is essential, there's no way they would get to, let's say they make one remarkable innovation, everybody's excited. There's no way they'll be able to tell the world about it in such a way that it can be used.
let's
Just
connect.
as I was preparing, I wrote something that science that is not understood can never be acted upon. That
Mm,
is just the truth. There's a lot of innovations out there, but how many of them do we know? If people can just know, like let's take vaccine for instance, if people can see how much value, how much good they'll be doing to themselves, not just themselves, but the entire community through herd immunity, if they would just take vaccines, they would begin to see themselves as role players in making our world a better place. And I believe that this would help them make use of that science, which is called vaccination and immunization right now. So, and another point I think I would like to raise is that there's a need to like begin to do take our the African community into context. Like recently a friend of mine was talking about how like the African community has over thousands of languages. I don't know if it's hundreds or thousands. So let's imagine where this science that scientists have put together, if it can be broken down into different languages that people actually understand and can then act on it, I think that would be a good place to start also. And back to, because we have to understand that there are two individuals at this they have to play a role. Scientists also need to learn the basics of science communications themselves, not just educators teaching them. There are a lot of open resources, and I listed quite a number here. I don't know if I can just quickly go over them, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, okay. So there's Open Netbook. The Open Netbook, they are doing notebook rather. They are doing an amazing job, making available online open access resources where people can actually learn about science journalism. And there's this course that I took at the time, how to find an angle to your science story. That's one course, that master class you can take to help you build knowledge about, okay, how am I going to tell the story about my science, and how am I going to let the world know about this good work that I'm doing. And I think there are various resources that people can access through this platform. This is just one out of the many. And the good thing is that they will deliver every every class to your email. So it's something that you can do at your own pace. You don't have to be bothered about whether it will not fit into your schedule. So I think it's important that we no longer begin to see science communication as a choice, but a necessity. Because without science communication, no matter the amount of investment that's made into developing that complex and amazing life-changing product, it might never be used at the end of the day. So I think I'll just stop here for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is amazing. And I like what you said about what Mr. Godwin said about inclusion. And that's what inclusion is about. So it's not about us being the scientists, it's about actually being able to carry the public along as well. Because if we're not including them, they're not gonna come along with us. And then if we can break it down so that they can understand, it's just in our heads. And as a sometimes as in my role as a pharmacist, I always tell people, okay, you want to have a conversation with a patient, they don't understand all your lab results and all this thing. What they want to know is, what is the problem, what are you going to do about it, what is the outcome. And you have to table it in a very layman language that they can understand. And sometimes actually they don't care about that. They care about what they care about. I mean, I do,
Mm,
especially when you go and speak to a patient, you want to speak to them about their medicine, but they want to speak to you about the fact that they can't sleep for the last 2 days. So, sometimes you just need to, okay, what is it that the patient wants to understand about this information? And then from there, if you what I've seen is, if you can solve the initial question in the heart of your patient or in the heart of the community, then they are more open to listen to all the other things you've got to say. But if you just say your own or throwing information at them, we're not going to really get anywhere, which is the crucial thing when it comes to education. Thank you so much. I will go back to you because I wanted to ask you another question. And my question is, what gap do you see in current science education, and how might this be bridged? Yes. So, in terms of looking at science education, or should I say, how should lifelong learning adapt to prepare professional for imagine, you know, especially in your field of infection control? How do we prepare professionals? Because we there's a lot of information out there, but I don't think even the professionals who are meant to be, the implementer of this information, or the one that is meant to really champion it, I don't see that happening. And that's part of education, because people learn all this thing in uni, they know all what they need to do, but when they come to practice, it's like they become another man. And you're thinking, did you just
mm.
throw away everything you learned in uni? So we're not even talking about community only, we're talking about people that actually have the knowledge as well. And how do we actually get people to do what they need to do in practice through education? Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So, I believe that it's a journey we need to take. It's not something that can be like fixed in 1 year, 2 years maybe. But then thank God we are addressing that now to know how to make progress on this journey. So I believe that one important thing is that people, maybe most graduates, or let's say future graduates, would only act on what they were taught. And the question that we now need to ask is that what they were taught, does it really address the current challenges that we are facing now?
Mm,
Imagine maybe you are taught about let me take for instance, like I heard somebody say that what exactly, like why it's maybe like knowing, maybe he gave an example of one subject in civic education that he can't really put it together what impact it now has in his life as of now. So I believe that there's a need to revisit the curriculum. That's why it's really a huge task to do an overhaul, if it's possible, to begin to align the curriculum with um current challenges that we are facing in the world right now. We can start to this is there's really no time to just teach people because we there need to be teachers and stuff like that. Because imagine going to school for 6 years and you come out and you're like, okay, like what I learned and what's the
what is
problem now? I'm not seeing any. Where's the connection? So it just seems to disappear once you step out of the classroom. So that is why there's a need for the curriculum to like really reflect, if it's possible, in the best way possible, the challenges that we are facing now. Let's start to teach these children about pandemics, the future sciences, the future engineers, about how to develop AI tools that would help to detect pandemics on time, because that is the world we are in right now. That is, and is this I believe that the essence of education is to groom people who are skilled to create a value that is needed in the world, maybe in the nearest future. So there's no need to waste resources just teaching people the same set of things that the graduates 10 years ago knew and cannot really make a create a solution with it. And I believe that another thing that is so important is project based learning. I interviewed a friend some time ago, and her name is Atam from Udofia. I don't know if she's on the call right now, but she's an undergraduate student and she's doing great things. She's in Thailand, and she was really talking about how she doesn't see a future for education except education that is based on projects. No matter how small, every class that we are taking, if it can be attached to a project that is connected, that really births those theories that you have learnt about, it really helps your brain to like really say, oh wow, this is what I was taught. And I think and I would like to chip this in. Yeah, we talk about how maybe Nigerian institutions do not have the things that enable us to go for project-based learning. But the truth is, what we have, most students are not maximizing it. I remember when I was an undergraduate and I was in this same case, I was like, oh, how do I learn about these things I see online? How do I know them? And there was somebody that was a graduate assistant, it's Mr. Adewale Fashora, and he really played a role in like inspiring me to like be more passionate about education. And he was like, why don't you volunteer with graduate students that are carrying out their project to really learn about the things you are learning, you have seen in class or you have been taught in class. And that really helped me like to really envision, okay, we've been taught about antimicrobial resistance, now seeing a plate filled with microorganisms that the antimicrobial disc is not
what?
conquering or is not killing, it really makes sense. And I'm like, okay, this is the AMR stuff that we have learnt about in class. So you can just volunteer in your lab as a student and and things like that would really help you. And there are so many virtual labs right now. And I wrote a list of them. Maybe I would share them with you, Ma, for you to maybe share with the audience later on. There's virtual exchange laboratories online. If you just type virtual labs on Google, you see things like pipetting techniques, how to do DNA extraction, things that you don't need to actually have a physical lab in your school for you to know about these things. And there are plethora of YouTube videos out there that would actually teach you these things for free. So project-based learning is key, a type of learning that makes room for students to actually practicalize what they've learned. That's why I'm so impressed with what Mr. Godwin is doing. That he says that if he has 5 days of teaching, he would ensure that 2 days is used to like teach these students skills that actually matter. So this is, you have to, if they say make lemons out of, like, make lemonades out of lemons, right? I think so. That's a way that you can make lemonades out of the lemon of the current Nigerian education system till we get to a place where our labs are fully furnished, are at they've reached a level of advancement that actually would help you to attain the skills of the future. And I think one other thing is to begin to build new courses. Like there's a need for us to begin to see how to bring new courses into the current courses that we have, maybe in our various universities. It's not enough to just train people on how to become molecular biologists. Are we also ensuring that as they get their molecular biology degree, they're also getting they're taking a course on science communication that ensures that whatever science they've learned, they can replicate? Are we helping them to gain soft skills while they are being going on their way to become a world-renowned virologist? So things like that would really help us to like bridge that wide gap between science communication, science and the real world. Thank you.
I really like what you said. That what I I take student placement nowadays, and when they come to me now, they do 10 days. Well, they do 10 days of placement in a year, and and the funniest thing is that they always laugh at me because I was like, I really envy you because I only did 3 days in 4 years during my time.
Wow.
And now the same thing that you are expected to do, I'm expected to do it in practice. And I didn't have the opportunity. I wasn't allowed to touch patients in my years. I wasn't allowed. I mean, we were just put in a room. You would be giving patients notes and just get on with it. Whereas we are expected to take them to patient, they talk to patient now, they do. And so what you were saying is that what you were saying about what you were taught and what happened when you actually get out there, they're not, things have moved on by the time you get out there. And it's about actually how can we get the education system to evolve so that people are not, the gap is not so wide by the time they actually get to use this skill, and actually is the skill still fit for purpose by the time they actually get out there. And that's really, and I like what you said about, it's not just about having the qualification. How do you communicate the knowledge that you have as well? I thought I'll ask Mr. Godwin, do you have anything to add to that? Because I think is a crucial thing that yes, we want to communicate, we want people to be able to do things, but actually, how do we get the university to kind of, because Deborah also talked about the fact that actually it looks like we're needing some new courses right now in the educational system, because some of the courses are not, they're not, I won't say they're not fit for purpose, but they need a bit more updates because things have moved on, especially after COVID. Do you have any addition to that, please? Please go ahead, Mr. Godwin. I'm not sure if you're frozen. Can you hear me, Mr. Godwin?
Okay, thank you for this. I think, yes, I can hear you. Okay. I think in addition to that, you just made a striking statement, the project bracelet, because I was actually writing things down because it's just mentioned about project-based learning. I must thank you, Ms. Debanjo Deborah, for that quick insight. Finding myself in the classroom, you've just pictured in that thing. You just thank you for tipping that. You just also mentioned the overhauling the curriculum. In addition to that, tipping in things that so you find yourself in a system that you cannot just wake up one day and change things. As
Mm,
a as coming up as an educator, that people that are being placed in authority in a curriculum is not something that a person cannot just walk up to authority, tell them change. they know these things. But I don't know what's keeping, maybe they are just looking for the timing. I think it begins from within. It begins from within. So she just made a striking statement of a project-based learning. If I am a teacher and I want to put in the statement you just made, I don't just need to go and change the curriculum. So all I just need to do is go back to my curriculum. This is what I'm being given to work on as a teacher. Include my project base. If I'm teaching this class I'm having should be a project of what we had discussed earlier. So with this, you'll be able to make the entire thing balanced. So overall, the statement you just made, and I really love it. I really love it. And this project-based inclusion is something that is going to be beneficial. And she made the statement, science is what we have. And it's all about having that powerful communication. I think I find myself a situation that I witnessed a science fair, a children exhibiting a science fair. I was like, come on, what's science fair? How do you come to talk about science fair, bringing plants, doing this, and they are not demonstrating? Maybe there is more to do in this science fair. If maybe there were opportunities to meet Miss Deborah, she would have been able to give a guideline on a proper science fair, which this science fair is going to bring a sustainable education, because what we are talking about is making the entire a sustainable environment, because it's a sustainable development goal, it's a global goal. So if we can have a sustainable development goal that's focusing on a project-based learning, that means there's going to be another goal that will be affected. Now, so Miss Deborah, you just hit the nail on the head. Now, I think as a, this statement you just made, it's a call to action for me. Yes, because I think as a teacher, I must be able to impute this in my classroom. Because I remember I think last year during Global Innovation Field Trip, one of my learners featured in recycling. So recycling, someone is going to say, I don't know what to start with. There are a whole lot of recycled materials you can start with. So I think it boils down for us as teachers to be able to use what we have to start what we can do at the moment. Thank you, Ms. Deborah, for that key strategic point you've just made. I've just noted that down. I'm going to put it with immediate effect. Thank you for sharing that part. Thank you.
I'm glad.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I like this. I like this. And that's the purpose of this, so that we can learn from each other. And what you said about project, people really think I'm mean. When people come to me for placement or they come for work experience, I was like, is a two-way street. You do a project, you get the experience. If you're not ready to do a project, we're not working together, because you're not coming empty handed. You know something, and you need to practice it. And I think it gives, I've looked back at myself, and some of the placements that I've enjoyed are the ones that they actually allowed me to do something, and that kind of helped me to see the future that I'm imagining in my head. And I think that creates a long-term commitment, actually, to education, because when you give people that experience, they always want to give back. I think that's my thought about it. And I think that's really key and important. And I like what you said, in addition to what Deborah said about, you know we are in a system which, and I agree with you that we can't change things. As a matter of fact, some people don't want things to change. And so you need to almost decide, okay, almost um, count your loss, really, and decide, okay, I can't change things, but I can change where I'm at. What that means is that I can change where I'm at. What that means is that I can actually, they won't change the curriculum, but I can change my lesson plan. I can change my little bits that I'm given to do, and on the way of working, because, and I think that can create the change that we want, because I've seen schools in which they change the way they deliver education, and they produce the result. And because they produce the result, everybody now start to copy what they do. And so we can start from where we are to actually make those change rather than, you know, waiting for the change at the top. But if we can influence somebody at the top as well, why not? You know, and that's the idea of, you know, our network as well, that we're not just having a network of our friends, you know, it's about reaching out to people who are influencer in that space, and, you know, sending our ideas to them, that, you know, have you thought about this? You know, and keep talking about it. You know, you know, sometimes people are, oh, you're a broken record, you talk about the same thing all the time. Yes, I talk about the same thing all the time because I think it's important and I need it to change, you know. And I think, you know, while we're doing it in a small level, we can also do it upward by actually pushing it upward. um Thank you, thank you. I forgot. I'm so sorry for our audience. Thank you so much for following us. I hope you've got value. Um, I am so sorry. I tried to put the chat on, but it's not working. So I can't see. I'm not able to see your chat. Not because I don't want to answer. I just can't see it. Today is the first time, I must be honest, of using this one stream, so I'm getting used to it myself. So I do apologize if it looks like I'm not responding to your chat. I will respond to all of them after the event, and I will try and answer your question. If there's any question to my guest, I will try and get them to I will try and get them to answer the question as well. So I do apologize if you're putting your question in and it looks like I'm ignoring them. I'm not ignoring them. I just cannot see them. And I think there's a button I'm meant to press, but I don't know what button to press. So please bear with me. So I was going to ask, in what way has digital blending learning reshape your teaching? How do you ensure equity for all students? You know, you've talked about the lab, you've talked about different tools, and, you know, I guess my question is that, how do we help people to know about these tools? Because I think that's the key thing for me. People, there are plenty of tools out there, but people don't know about these tools. I don't know why. I don't know, you know, there's a common saying that says information is power. So we know AI is out there. We know there are tools that can enhance education, especially, I feel that we are in a space in which you actually don't have excuse not to learn. But the thing is that if people don't know what the tools that are out there, how are they going to be able to learn? So I wanted to ask, and I'll go to you first, Miss Ade, Ms. Deborah Adebanjo. How do you think we can get people to know the tools that are out there so that people can actually, you know, start to use this tool? Because it's really sad that, you know, I was discussing with someone about AI, and I was like, do you know the rate at which AI is developing now? And they're looking at me really strange. And I said, do you know about this website? Like, no. Do you know about this? No. Do you know about that? No. And I thought, okay, am I am I getting am I being too interested in AI, or is it just people not connecting with the fact that the world is moving on? And I just wanted to, I'm really passionate about that people are suffering, people are doing things longer, and they're getting frustrated because they don't know what skills are out there. How do we help people to know this, that these skills that, or these tools rather, that are out there? Please go ahead, Deborah.
Okay. Thank you, Mar, for that question. I would like to quote a maybe very like not exactly, but there's this passage of the Bible where Paul was saying that how would they how would they believe except they hear, and how would they hear except somebody told them, right? So that is just the answer. The like you would not know beyond what you've been told or what you've read somewhere. So the only way for people to know about this is when each and every one of us, including myself, start to advocate for these things. I remember that I've always, and this is just a personal example, I've always known about AI, but I was of this opinion that if you use AI, you are a cheat, That why would you ask somebody to write something you could write? Why would you? And there was this friend of mine that literally the AI on his head. Any small thing, he'll be like, I used AI to do this. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Then he just said, okay, why not that take I'm taking this course on ALX, AI Essentials. Why not take it? And I was like, okay. I had some time on my hand that I was like, okay, let me even know what this AI is about. That course changed my life. Like I literally saw that I've been doing myself a great disservice by refusing to use it. Like I was introduced to numerous tools that I could even use for science communication, how you could make a video using AI tools. In fact, as this the community that I run, there's this tool called Fireflies AI, which helps you to record your meetings, write the minutes from your meetings, the summary. That tool has been a life-saving tool for me. Like imagine after every session, I had to now the first time I tried to do record that session without AI because I wanted to use another device and immediately I saved, I lost all the recording. So
Wow.
that that experience really said there's really no like AI is already part of us. There's no need to be scared about it taking your job or something. What you should be passionate about knowing is how can I use AI to improve the work that I do, not to take the work that I do away from me, but use do improve the work that I do. So when you see AI as an enhancing tool, efficiency enhancing tool, and AI is just one of the tools. There are other tools that people need to know about. So it's just advocacy. I'll say advocacy plays a major role. Just like that friend that told me about learning about AI essentials on ALX changed my life literally. We can also change people's life by, you can just be a market woman and she's like, how did you do this? And you can just say, mama, don't you know about this tool? Like it's something you can actually use that it will be beneficial to you. That your colleague at your workplace, just telling them, oh, you want to do data analysis. Why not use ChatGPT to tell you to develop a curriculum for you on how to learn about data analysis so that you can analyze health data better. Like small things like, and I can tell you as a matter of fact, I preach the gospel of this Fireflies AI everywhere that almost all of my colleagues are now like using it also for any meeting they have. So I am proud to to be an AI advocate actually. So it's just advocacy that I would say that works.
Wow. I really I think that is key because um I think, and I think that's the question I'm going to put to you. Is the same question, but in a different way. Do we, Mr. Godwin, do we assume that people know? Is that why we don't talk about it? Or we just thought, I'll mind my business. I don't want people to think I'm a strange person and I'm into this AI thing. So we just don't talk about these tools and we just keep it to ourselves. Or the other thing is, do you think that people just want to outsmart one another? That's why they keep it to themselves. Please go ahead. I would love to hear your views, Mr. Godwin.
The network is breaking.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I say I'm not getting your question. Your network is.
Oh, okay. So what I was asking was, Deborah was talking about the fact that we need to advocate. We need to let people know that these tools exist. If we don't let them know, they're not going to know, and there's no way they're going to use it. So my question is, along the same line, okay, we're not telling people the tool exists. Why do you think we're not telling them? And I was putting out some, what will I call them now? Some ideas that maybe people think that, oh, I want to outshine my friends, so I'm not going to tell them that I'm using AI. Or people already assume that everybody know about AI, so they just keep it to themselves. What do you think is the problem, why we're not talking about it?
Let me actually say this from my own personal experience. I've come to notice that a whole lot of people that is using WhatsApp as on their devices, whatever gadgets, their devices they're using, they have Meta AI, and they will always go there as a, or let's say as a side talk to ask some few questions. Now, these devices, these gadgets, these tools exist. Now, if you what we some persons are not telling it, they feel they don't want others to outshine them. And while you feel you don't want others to outshine you, you don't know that other person that you feel don't want them to outshine you are already using this tool. Now, something happened. It was striking that a friend of mine that during my session, my Beyond Success session, he was actually using an AI tool, Grok. So this Grok is something that I use it too. In fact, I have a whole lot of, I have ChatGPT, I have Grok, I have Gemini, I have Perplexity, I have Midjourney, I have Claude Sonnet, I have a whole lot of them. Now, so whenever this idea is coming from all these sides, I know I can maybe okay, I can say this one is coming from here. They might be related. So sometimes we feel insecure not telling others this tool exists because we don't want them to outshine us. And now, even while you are trying to tell others this tool, they feel they know it. So I think we just have to come with this idea, like Ms. Deborah just talked about, it's advocacy. So a whole lot of people know this tool exists, but sometimes I feel they don't know the right way to use to just make mention of AI essentials. So sometimes if someone might just pick a gadget or a device, you go to a whole lot of people use AI. But just like in AI prompts, there's some prompts you ask AI, the prompt you input is the result you are going to get. A casual person might just use AI, ChatGPT, what is this? Now the ChatGPT is just going to give you what is that. So as someone that has this idea of prompting and AI essential, will be able to tell the AI in details what you want, the idea of what you want, the range, because it might go out of what you expect. So if you are able to sell these ideas to another person, no, come on, I know you know this tool exists. This is what you can, this thing can do variably, nothing, there's nothing you this tool cannot do that you don't want it to do. Just with the right prompting. So the person, okay, I know how to use this, okay, teach me or share with me. So from what she just said, I think she has done justice to that. It's all about doing advocacy. We should not be afraid, in as much as we want to maintain a sustainable world, a sustainable environment. Or we just have this picture, it needs to be selfless. Because sometimes if I know it, there's nothing that will stop me from not sharing with you because we have, in as much as we exist as a person, we have this close cycle of persons that are around us. So within that close cycle of persons around you, share. So that close cycle of person around you, somebody that knows somebody, that idea you share is going viral. That idea you share is going. So I think the best way for us to do, we should not be insecure. We need to keep sharing. We should not feel is insecure of whatever we know. Just keep sharing. Just so that what goes around comes around. You just keep sharing, and like the idea keeps growing. Thank you. I think that's what I need to add in there.
That is amazing. And I think I agree with what you said about, you need to keep sharing. And, if the people that you think they're not using it, they're probably using it, they're probably hiding it from you as well. And I think by you sharing it, you might actually learn some new ones that you don't even know that they're keeping silence, because the fact that you share what you're doing, and they're more likely to share what they're doing with you. But like Deborah said, there must be a way we can actually, and that's why for me, content, creating content on social media is quite key, especially on a platform like LinkedIn, because that's a place to actually showcase what you're doing and advocate for people to know these tools and actually help them, and like your friend did to you. When I find a course that I just thought, especially if I have somebody in my network that's been maybe complaining about something, or I've been wanting to do something and they've not been able to do it. I'm like, have you actually, tried these particular tools? The other thing is about, not knowing the right one. So there are plenty of tools out there. is about, how do people actually know the right one. And again, it's come down to that content creation, because if you're not sharing your knowledge about, okay, I've used this tool, this is what it does for me, and this is what I've been able to do with it, how are people going to know that it is what they can use that tool for? So I think is about getting people to know about the tools and how, which ones actually will do the job that they want, so that they know that, okay, if I, oh, okay, Deborah said last time when she was trying to use a tool, this one works for us, so I'm going to go for that one because I think that one is the one that will work for me, or that will do the things that I want to do. And I think that is quite key. One last question I want to ask you, and you might not be able to answer me because really, Dr. Uchenna was meant to be here when we talk about neurodiverse. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to get her to join me on another session. It might just be me and her. We will just do a bit of banter on one session. But I'm really keen about how do we create quality education for our neurodiverse people, or neurodiverse students, um, because of an advance in technology and everything, we can see more and more of that being recognized. The things that will be, categorized as, oh, a troublesome child, or a child that, maybe there's something wrong with them or whatever. We can see that inform there's great understanding now around autism, around ADHD, and there are more and more of this being, coming out. And I'm quite interested, how do we ensure inclusive in the quality of education, bearing in mind our the community, this community of neurodivergent. What do you think, Deborah? Please go ahead, and hopefully Mr. Godwin can
Okay.
join us.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mar, for that question. So I believe that it's a good thing to see where the world is at now, where
Mm-hmm.
we are starting to consider and actually remember that neurodiverse, maybe kids, adults, are actually part of us. I remember that maybe the first time I really knew about autism was when I read a book by Karen Kingsbury. I think The Blessing. I'm trying to remember the title now, but it's hard for me to remember. But like she really spoke about autism and the condition through a story, and I really appreciated because I it made me understand that okay, there are other people in this planet Earth that we live in, and they have the right to access education. Because if we talk about, we must understand that SDG4 is not just about quality education. It is also inclusive and quality education. So we are not trying to say an education or a type of education that enables people to be skilled to solve future problems, but we want a type of education where we are not talking about equality now, but equity, where everybody has the access to the type of education that is able to inform him and train him or her to become a better person, or a person that is of value to the society. So I believe that one way we can do this is, I would not say I'm a neurodiverse kid or try to like make up stories to show, but I remember that I noticed that anytime I read, I always had difficulties like when I get papers and it is just written there, I would not understand it at first. But anytime I watch a YouTube video about a particular concept, then go back to study the notes about that same concept, it's like my brain goes on fire. Like it's like, wow, like I really understand, because as I'm reading the paper, it's like I'm envisioning what I saw
Right.
on the internet. So my brain comes alive. So I think this is one way, like to diversify the curriculum that we have in various ways. That's why I'm really grateful for what Khan Academy is doing. and a whole lot of other resources out there. Like, and people that are maybe are passionate about neurodiverse kids. Like, there's this students who was, when we were in school, she was really passionate about dyslexia, and because I think she also has that condition, and seeing how she was able to go through school through the support of teachers and her parents who really understood what this condition is, how it helped her like make the most out of her education. So I would say first, diversifying the curriculum to include these people, like to make room for them to understand, to be able to also make the most out of education by making educational content and resources available in various forms. Then also support. We need support from parents, peers. Let's not be that educator who, maybe because a child refuses to get a concept over and over again, you are quick to conclude that the person is olodo, like we call it in Yoruba, like that the person does not know anything or is good for nothing. Just like give the student time. And this is why it's so important for educators to be trained and not just say, oh, because I could not find a job, that's why I am in this teaching profession. Because when you are trained, maybe you would get to know about various conditions and maybe how to be more considerate and develop learning plans that actually take into consideration the various students that are in your class. So I'll just say um a diversified curriculum, peer and educators support, and maybe training of our educators to really understand what neurodiversity is. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I like what you said because no, especially for people who have been trained earlier, a lot of people don't know about neurodiverse kids. And you've done your teacher training or whatever for so long, and now you got them in your class, and to some extent you don't know what to do. And I must put my hand up, I'm one of them. I do a lot of training in my career, because I do training on medicine and stuff like that, to healthcare professionals. And I've been in rooms in which people come into my room, and I really, at first I thought they were distracting, but it was later it occurred to me that actually they might be neurodiverse, and they are probably they're not connecting with me because the way I'm delivering the information is not actually suitable to them. And and it's difficult for them because sometimes they don't want to come out, or if they've not even declared it in their place of work that they're neurodiverse, then it's difficult for them to communicate with you to say, I really don't understand what you're saying. And one of the things I also find out was the fact that they need a lot of break. You can't just sit in a 1 hour session and still keep throwing information at people, especially in a training session. And what you said is quite key. A lot of the people that do training development, they're not actually trained to deal with neurodiverse divergent, and that is really key. So I want to ask you, Mr. Godwin, as a teacher, how do you how do you think that can be included in teacher training, in at even uni? One of the things that in the UK, now there is a new program that you have to do as an healthcare professional if you work in the NHS, which I do, and it's called Oliver McGowan. And it's because there was a case in which there was an autism child that came into hospital, and the parents, because they know the child well, even though the child is autistic, the parent was telling the clinicians how to treat the patient, but nobody was listening, because we all know the guidelines and the policy and everything, and we are applying it to somebody that is totally different, in terms of population. and we were not looking at the patient. And no, that so now that is now a mandatory training in the NHS. You must do that training, and it talks about autism. It talks about neurodiverse basically, and yes, that's been implemented in the healthcare system and things in, and I'm sure it's probably going to filter through globally. But how do we do that at education level, undergraduate level, primary school level, that people will start to change their mindset about what somebody looks like, how they behave, how they learn. When you were not in, Deborah was talking about the fact that when she reads something for the first time, it's like, okay, but when she watch something visual and then read it later, the information is different. And to be honest, I'm like that. If you give me a piece of paper, I will be sleeping. But if you put me in front of something visual, I catch the information and then I can relate it back to if I see the paper. And there are people like that, that you can't just throw information at them, you can't be talking at them. How do we introduce this at a very basic level, i.e., in the university, in primary school, so that we start to prepare people to deal with a community like this, which, yes, they're different, but different is also what is called inclusion. Please go ahead. Mr. Godwin, please go ahead. You've not on mute, by the way. Oh, it's frozen again. Oh, wow. It's frozen again. Okay. While we're waiting for him, can you hear me? Okay, it's not moving. It's frozen again. So, oh, it's gone out now. So, I think it's very important that we are able to incorporate that into what we do, because it's quite key in terms of how do we, especially, I must say, I really learned from, uh, I'm, I'm, I would say I'm learning. That's the word I'll use. I'm learning. So now, when I deliver training, I always kind of, you know, observe the way people are responding to my training. And if I see somebody that they're really distracted, they're really getting fed up about being in that environment, especially if the room is not big, then I start to, I'm more conscious to say, oh, is there something I could do? Or I might just put it out there that, oh, do people think we should take a break? Because I think I've seen that help as well. So I was just like, oh, do people think we should take a break? And you find out that, they're usually the people that will say, yes, 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 I would like 5 minutes, please. And just that 5 minutes actually help them to refocus their energy and everything about what you're trying to communicate, which is quite key. So we need to be able to carry the neurodiverse people along with us. And I think it's quite key that we are able to do that. I'm not sure if Mr. Deborah, sorry, Mr. Godwin is going to join us, but you can answer that question for us as well. How do you think we can actually start to teach little kids, secondary school, university students about neurodiversity?
I believe that one way that we can teach little children about neurodiversity would be in on my first point, that maybe developing a curriculum that applies to little children to actually understand that there are neurodiverse kids that would equally be students like themselves. And I think we can do this by I've seen quite a number of particularly for primary school children, maybe these books that are written in like cartoon form, or I'm trying to, I can't remember the specific word, but that really appeals to young children, really small children. And I think that's one way. And also, there are many organizations that do a lot of projects with little children. Like I think there's this the Global Student Network. I'm not sure if I'm correct, but there are many organizations that are really into like just targeted at maybe children from age, let's say, around 5 to maybe 9 or 10. So I think that there's a need for them to really do more regarding their advocacy, that whatever advocacy they do also includes these things. Okay, Mr. Godwin is back, but I think that's just what I would say, that their advocacy is made to include things about neurodiversity. It could be in form of a playlet, just opening the children's mind to understand that okay, these people exist and there's a need for us to make room for them. So I think that's one way we can do that.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. Mr. Godwin, if you can hear me, I'm not sure if you caught the question, but what I was asking was, we have this neurodiverse community. How do we start to teach, like primary school, secondary school, undergrads, how to actually know how to communicate, how to, interact, and how to educate them about this group of students, patients, so that people actually come out, and when they get into the workplace, they suddenly, it's not a surprise. They already know how to deal with a neurodiverse person. Please go ahead. I hope you can hear me. Oh dear. Mr. Godwin, can you hear me? No, it's gone. Oh, this
Mhm.
network thing is so bad. So Mr. Godwin
Right.
is
I think
obviously his on screen, but I don't think.
Uh,
Oh, you can hear me.
yes,
okay.
yes, I can
Thank
hear
God.
you.
Fantastic.
I can hear you. I think I'm
Please go
having
ahead.
a
I
break
think.
in net. I'm just trying to monitor my network here. So, kickstarting to that, I think, yes, we have three learning skills, which is essential for building a sustainable administration. Now we have the visual learners, the kinesthetic learners, and the auditory learners. So as the diverse learners, some of them might have deficiency, or let's say having learning challenges. So in as much as we want to build a sustainable environment, most especially in the primary, secondary, or the tertiary institution, whatsoever level of education that it is, we need to first identify the learning strength. So it is the learning strength that is going to pioneer. Like I heard you because I watched you from the other end. You made mention that you might be giving a book to anything book you slipped off. So it's not as if it's a difficulty, it's just that that is not your strength. So in as much as we want to make it sustainable, for it to balance the entire session, be able to identify the learning strength. So identifying the learning strength is very, very important. Very, very important. So the first thing to do is identifying the learning strength. So when you identify the learning strength, is use the learning strength to achieve whatever you want. If it is a visual learning, you use the visual learning and you are going to get 100% results. And if it's based on the auditory aspect, and if it's based on the tactile aspect, using hands, touching, like the project-based learning, if that will actually work, you actually use what works best. Since they're not new to it, it's all about using what works best as a strength. Using that what works best as a strength is going to affect and affect the results as the output that is coming out.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So we've only got about a few minutes left. And thank you for that. And we've discussed a lot today. And what I wanted to I mean, both of you, you are into education, and from what you've said, you've got communities. I want you to talk about, we've only got about 10 minutes before the studio kick us out. So, in 2 minutes, can you talk about your community, how people can connect with your community, in terms of education, what they, how they can learn from you, if you do mentorship, if you do any support, and so that our audience can connect with you, because I think it's important. We've talked about educating people and putting ourselves out there to say, okay, if you want to learn, there's information available and there's support here. Even if we can't, we can signpost people. So let me go to you, Deborah, first. Tell us about your community, how people can connect with your advocacy in the area of education.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity, Ma. So, the community that, by the grace of God, that I lead is Practical Education Hub, and the community's major goal is just to like build globally competent students under it. That's our audience right now at the moment, and Nigeria definitely. Maybe as time goes on, would expand into other countries of the world, but the way that you can, I think one key thing that we are doing is to ensure that students take ownership for their own education, and that's the phase that we are right now, to ensure that students maximize whatever resources, whatever opportunities are first made aware of these opportunities. That's, we are trying to bring awareness that okay, there are study exchange programs that you can go for. There's a need for you to learn how to apply for fully funded stuff out there, fully funded opportunities. Start volunteering as soon as you can. Start building a portfolio as soon as you can. So those are things that we try to help the students understand. So I would say that we do a the majority of our work is mentorship, like mentoring students to set goals that are globally aligned, and not just stick on goals like, oh, I want to build a 5.0 CGPA. That's fantastic, but there's a need for your goals to include other things and actually guide them to achieve this goal. So you can reach out to us via email. It's on our LinkedIn page. We have a LinkedIn page, Practical Education, where up in capital letter. And we are currently carrying out a mentorship program called Smart Mentorship Program. Although the court one application for court one just recently closed last week. So we are not taking in applications for that right now, but it's something that would happen on a rolling basis by the grace of God. So students can always join in maybe when the next application is open. And we also ensure that even if you are not part of the mentorship program, we have a WhatsApp community where students get access to opportunities, and we tell them about various ways that they can develop themselves as an holistic student. So that's one way that you can reach out to us via mail if you want us to add you to our WhatsApp community or be part of our mailing list, where we send you regular updates about our various events. And we do academic retreat for students, where they talk about their challenges, and we like try to see ways to help them overcome these challenges that they have in their studies. So this is what we do in the community.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope Mr. Godwin join us, because I really want him to talk about his community as well. But I'm also mindful that the studio is going to kick us out in 10 minutes. But thank you for sharing that. And that's loads of information. If you like I said, please connect with my guest on LinkedIn. Her name is Deborah Adebanjo on LinkedIn, and she can share with you all the information. I will also try and get the information so I can share it on different platforms, so that you can use it, because we're currently broadcasting on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. So we can put the information there. And if you're interested, do connect. I think it's important that we start to develop. We don't wait until people get into the job market and they're totally lost. They're like fish out of water. But we can actually start to develop people and develop their skills so that they are ready for the market, and there are no surprises when they get into the market. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so, so grateful
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity. I don't take it for granted when I ask people to come on the program, and they do. Especially today is actually the first time I'm using one stream, because I used to use the old version LinkedIn audio. So it's really a good stepping stone for us. And I'm just trying to kind of wait for Mr. Godwin to come back in, so that I can get him to tell us about his community. I really hope that his network hold out. Uh,
Okay,
Mr.
it's
Godwin,
here
are
now.
you with us? Can you hear us? Are you with us, and can you hear us? Because I wanted you to let our audience know about your community, how you can support them
I think
around
network
the
is really disturbing. Yes, I can hear you very well now. I think I'm having
fabulous,
challenge with my network.
fabulous. So before you get kicked out again, and before we get kicked out of the studio in general, can you tell our audience how you can support them in the area of education? How they can connect with you and with your community. I hope you've not gone out again. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Okay. I think my network is really giving me a tough time. I think some days are like that. Okay. Okay, quick one before my network shuts me out again. I'm in a cycle of young mindful leaders that's interested, yes, mindful leader that is interested to give out value to others. Okay?
Yeah. So if you want to connect with
Okay,
my
okay. I was
guest,
saying,
oh, go ahead.
so my cycle, I believe, work a group of persons that
Oh, the reception is so bad. We need to go out because it's gonna kick us out, and I wanted to say a thank you to our audience before we go. So please, Mr. Godwin is on LinkedIn. Please connect with him, and he will be able to give you all the information that you need to be able to access his community. To our audience, again, I really want to apologize to our audience. Not because I don't want to take your questions. I
I
just
can,
do not.
I don't know if you
I've
can hear
lost
me,
the
and my net.
button. I've lost the button for connecting with the question, which is why I did not take your questions. But if you did put your question in the comment, I will go through them, and the ones that cannot answer, I will get my my speakers to answer them. I want to say a big thank you. Last word from you in like 1 minute or two before the studio kick us out, Mr. Godwin. And the question I was asking you was, how can people connect with you? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I grew up with a lot like minds of individual to build sustainability. How? Whatever value I have, I share with you, and you don't just keep that value to yourself, you share with others. We want I build a chain of successful young mind persons. My community, we are just few, and that few we work few and growing. We are not just stable. In as much the certification I have, every member of my community must have it. As I have the information I share with you, we share with others. What are we looking? We are looking to building a sustainable education. I feel most especially they are mostly teachers and young school leavers. And some
Okay.
are undergraduate students to build a sustainable environment. Whatever idea, if you're having a challenges, we stand to help you grow it. Most especially and also critical thinking. I help them build a high level of critical thinking to be able to harness the best of their potential. That's all I do to give back to the society. So you can connect me with the same name, my own same name on all my social media handles. I go with the same name.
Fantastic, excellent. So please connect with my guest. Connect with both of my guests. Actually, I am assured, from what you've obviously seen today with the discussion, they are there to offer you value, and that value you might not be able to get it from somewhere. I'm very bold enough to say that. So please connect with them, connect with their community. If they have a WhatsApp group, they will let you have it so that you can learn more about what they do. I want to say a big thank you. It's been an honor, it's been a privilege, and I hope to collaborate with you in the future. I will keep in touch, and please do keep in touch with me. And for our audience, thank you so much for sticking around. We're nearly 2 hours into it. I didn't even know, and we didn't even touch on some of the questions that I have listed that we want to talk about. Um, Also, apologies, we did not have Dr. Uche now with us today. I'm not quite sure what happened. I did send the information, but it might be network again. So I hope, and I'm looking for another opportunity to bring her on where we talk about. She is actually, our area of specialty is neurodiverse diverse community, and I was really hoping that we can actually talk about that today in details. But I'm hoping to bring her on. Until next time, I'm hoping to do this again, maybe in the next 4 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know. So you will see my LinkedIn. You will see our advert on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. So just connect with us again, and we hope to give value. Again, thank you to Deborah Adebanjo. Thank you to Mr. Godwin Asanganyi. I tried. As you can see, I've been avoiding. I tried. Thank you so
You
much.
did, ma.
It's
Thank
been
you
a
so
privilege.
much for the opportunity.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
thank you,
thank
Mr.
you,
Godwin. Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Um, have a
All right,
good
thank
day,
you, ma, for the
and we're gonna.
opportunity. I,
Thank you so much.
thank you,
Thank
Miss
you.
Deborah. I think I've learned from you a whole lot.
Yeah.
Same
I
here. I
have look.
am.
I will go and replay the video because there are some things you mentioned, both of you, that I was like, okay, I'm moderating. I can't write a lot now, so I'm gonna go back to the video myself. Thank you so much, and we're gonna be logging out in 1, 2, 3. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.